As the world continues to move forward from the pandemic, one adjustment from 2020 lives on: remote work. But that could all change in 2025 as more big companies are mandating a return to the office. Amazon and AT&T are requiring employees to return to the office 5 days a week starting this month. The Washington Post gave its employees a similar mandate starting in June. Now, according to a recent Flex Index report, U.S. companies requiring in-office work at least 3 days a week rose from 19 to 20% in the last 2 quarters. And of course, the future Trump administration is also weighing in. Both Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who will lead the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, have called remote work a COVID-era privilege, saying American taxpayers shouldn't pay for federal employees to work from home. Wow. Okay, now, for more insight into the future of work from home, we're joined by Joseph Williams. He's a journalist, former senior editor at U.S. News and World Report. Happy New Year, Joseph. Good to see you again, my friend.
Sean, good to see you.
Okay, studies are suggesting that remote work can improve work-life balance, in turn reducing stress and boost overall health. So how have these benefits impacted employee productivity and morale in the long term?
In the long term, studies suggest not at all. Many studies, one after the other, has said that remote work it results in just as much productivity as in-office time does. Productivity does not suffer. You have employees who are taking care of their children, who are running errands, who are looking after older parents, and they're still able to get their work done on time. As a matter of fact, it's been a boost to morale across the board, according to most workplace studies. The problem that you get into with, and the thing that employers are talking about, is the one thing that you can't get by remote work, and that's face-to-face collaboration, which kind of misses something if you're doing it remotely. I remember the first time I went back to office after COVID, it felt like a new world. I almost forgotten how to act in an office, but certainly those are lessons that are easily learned. But if employers are satisfied, or if employees are satisfied, they're saying if something ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's balance that with the fact that several high-profile companies, Amazon, Wipro, AT&T, are pushing employees to return to the office full-time. So why do you think these companies are so insistent on this right now?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. And also, let's not forget the city of Philadelphia, which pretty much started this trend about half a year ago, that said all of its employees for the new mayor were going to require to be showing up every single day. What employers want to do is, again, talk about that collaboration that we had talked about, and there's some semblance of control that's probably in there as well. They want to make sure that their employees are doing what they need to be doing. They want to be able to call them into a meeting spontaneously, or they want to be able to see ideas spring organically around the office. But the other thing that people are talking about less and less is that this may be a covert way of reducing the workforce. Everybody's gotten comfortable working from home, and to disrupt that and disrupt their routines again, a lot of people are looking for other alternatives, places that are open to remote work, places that think that remote work is just fine and that won't force them back to the office, including the Department of Government Efficiency.
Okay, you've laid out a couple of things for both sides of this, getting face-to-face contact as well as the life balance. What do people seeking a job have in their corner right now? Do they have any bargaining power?
They had higher bargaining power during the heights of the pandemic. You remember quiet quitting and people looking for work and being able to negotiate their best offer, including working from home. That power has kind of diminished slightly, especially as the economy has rebounded, as society has rebounded, and as you have employers who are insisting on this, not just saying, it's optional, saying you have to return to work or you're going to forfeit your job. That was very much the demand coming out of the Washington Post when they ordered their people back to work 5 days a week. So the bargaining power is severely limited because employers feel emboldened to actually say your job or working from home, make a choice. And that's an indication of where the economy is right now and how much bargaining power employees have lost as things have progressed. But the other thing is society has really changed a lot. So although some employees might not be able to work for the company that they desire and avoid return to work full time, they do have the other options where companies that are not insisting that people go back to work full time, Spotify among them, they took out a full page ad that said something in the order of, we consider our employees adults, they're not children, work from remote remote working will stay for Spotify. So there's very much a tension here between the old kind of guard and the new guard, between how much remote work is still a factor and should still be a factor in employer.
But still, these companies are paying for these big office buildings. So we know that Amazon, Washington Post, a number of others want their people back in. What's the risk that companies run by enforcing what some could interpret as rigid in-office work policies?
Well, and I'll go you one better. A lot of mayors around the nation are saying our downtowns are hurting, lunch counters are closing, tailors, shoe repair places, you name it, things that used to depend on the transition and the ebb and flow of people coming in and out of downtown, they're hurting along with cities and urban tax bases. So what's lost here is the fact that employees no longer have that option, but they do have one thing that's very much in their corner, and that's the fact that the world has indeed changed. So I think that there is an ability to drive a harder bargain, not in all cases like it was maybe a year and a half ago, but certainly a brain drain is what companies risk if they mandate return to work to employees who are not feeling it. The best and the brightest may find greener pastures elsewhere.
Joe, real quickly, and there's not a lot of time, but we know the Trump administration is going to weigh in on this. Half of the country follows this gentleman feverishly. So to what degree is that going to have an impact, saying, let's get back in the office?
Well, Trump really commands a lot of attention. He says things people tend to follow. I think he'll be the 800-pound gorilla when this comes down to it. I think if he orders all remote federal employees to come back to the office, it's going to represent a cultural shift that we may not be able to stop.
Interesting. Joseph Williams, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Take care.